Where are the men that actually care about emotional connection?
Well, the first place that some women should look that are actually asking that question would be the friend zone. You know, that place that a lot of women put men that actually show them kindness, consideration, and understanding. Try looking there first.
Like, where are the men that actually want to build something with their person?
And the second place that some of these men will be found will be sitting quietly in their homes, enjoying the peace and tranquility that comes with being single.
Like, where? Where are they?
One's not going to find them up there.
Because I don't understand. I don't understand it. It's just like that's long gone. Emotional, spiritual, and mental connection is completely gone, apparently.
No, it's not. But a lot of women forget that part of actually finding that connection would involve listening to their partner, not just their partner having to listen to them.
And all they really care about is physical attraction and gaining physical attention. So
That might be in large part due to a lot of women only being focused on a man's finances.
I don't know what kind of world we're living in, but honestly, if someone is not willing to connect on a mental, spiritual level, like it's just not happening. I'm sorry.
We are living in the kind of world that modern feminism has created.
You said, what are you bringing to the table?
Yes. What do most women bring to the table?
Men are tired. I'm not bringing nothing to the table, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Nothing. Well, then that means that one actually has nothing to offer a relationship.
You want a woman to bring something to the table? Go to IHOP.
And I'm sure many men would actually prefer that as opposed to having to deal with women who actually bring nothing to the table outside of their outward appearance.
Go to the restaurant where you can tip her, baby. Sprinkle, sprinkle.
And women listening to this type of advice obviously need some tips.
Because if I bring something to the table, you're going to be mad because it's going to be another man
A man who obviously doesn't expect much out of their partner.
who's going to not ask me to bring something to the table. He's going to take care of the bill, them kids, and everybody else. And you, if you look broke. Okay? Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's how I roll.
Yes. How to roll right into a relationship that doesn't actually have a decent foundation, relying only on one person's looks and another person's money.
The most frustrating thing about men is the fact that they refuse to acknowledge when they are being flirted with.
It's more likely the case that instead of refusing to acknowledge that they're being flirted with, that they were just either completely unaware of it, or they were playing it safe. What exactly was the strategy that one used?
Oh, you're so handsome. And they just go. They look so confused to the point where you're like, they obviously want nothing to do with me. That's okay. Won't do that again.
Here's a better idea. Instead of trying to be subtle, why not just eliminate all possibilities for confusion and tell the guy that you're interested in him, that you're flirting with him, instead of expecting him to pick up on subtle cues which could easily be misinterpreted as a woman just being nice.
Later you find out they liked you the whole time. So, what?
So the moral of the story here is, it would have been better from the beginning just to be upfront and honest and let the guy know that you're interested in him. It would have saved everyone a lot of time.
So I have zero shame in telling a man that after 3 months you are paying my bills. And if you're not, bye-bye.
Oh, I can hear the hearts just breaking from here.
There's 7 billion people in the world. If you can't do it, somebody else will. So I have no shame. I'm kind of sort of trying to find somebody to bring me food every once in a while. Like, I can do a guy, and I said, yeah, after 3 months you pay my bills. And he said, no.
That's not surprising at all, because it sounds like that man actually has some self-respect.
Like, a guy knows. Like, oh, if I really like her and she's not crazy, yeah, I would pay her bills. Maybe I threw it out there too soon.
Maybe you just shouldn't have thrown it out there at all.
Men don't understand the investment and the benefit and how we're trying to make sure that we're not getting played. I can't help you, men. Don't talk to us. You're not the one. We're not talking to brokies.
Fortunately, not all women think like this, but unfortunately, it is the ones that do that tend to speak the loudest, and are the main reason that a lot of men are choosing to remain happily single.
Would you date a guy that makes $75K a year?
Now, we've seen enough of these. Guess what the answer to that question is?
That's so cute. No.
Cute. Well, that's definitely a new answer.
With inflation in this economy, I absolutely could not.
Absolutely could not, huh? Well, that statement right there makes me think that that individual doesn't make much money themselves, but yet is going to insist that their future partner brings in all the money. And why?
I don't think that he could afford our groceries.
What kind of food does one normally buy?
And I mean, and I'm buying organic, and obviously I'm buying all like grass-fed, grass-finished beef, no seed oils.
Right.
So no, we couldn't afford that at Whole Foods. No.
No Whole Foods for this guy.
No Whole Foods. We're back at like Publix, like the sale section.
Like Walmart groceries.
Walmart groceries. Yeah.
At least they're honest. And I do wish them luck in finding someone who's willing to finance their goal of keeping up bougie appearances rather than being practical.
Yes, mandatory vasectomies, you say 13 to 70. I say, let's start around 11 and make sure you to extend it to at least 85.
After seeing this, I had actually been living in hope that it was satire. But then I looked through the comment section. No, they seem to be serious, which is unfortunate because anyone who thinks that a male should get a vasectomy when they're 11 years old is probably in need of a mandatory psychiatric evaluation.
Would you ever date a guy that made $200K?
Like a year?
Yeah.
$200K a year. That's a very respectable amount of money. I wonder what their answer will be.
No, what the?
Are you serious? You don't think 200K is a lot?
No.
No. Oh, I can't wait to hear what their very, I'm sure, reasonable expectations are.
I want a guy that makes $200K a month.
What?
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's pretty good.
Would you?
I mean, like, 200K is like a lot of money. Like, my dad makes 200K.
Oh, but it gets better.
Like, that's like your hardworking dad. Like, we live in a whole different generation.
That's true. It's easy to make money now.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It's easy to make money now, is it? That will come as a complete shock to a great many people in this country that are struggling to get by and living paycheck to paycheck every single day.
Look how much money we have and what do we do?
Yeah.
One can only guess.
I want a guy that makes more money than me. Like, what?
Yeah.
I think now would be the appropriate time to ask, what exactly does one bring to the table that actually makes one think that one deserves a man that makes $200K a month?
Somebody in the comments said, if I made $200,000 a month, there would be a very long vetting process for girlfriend or partner. Attractiveness would be 25% of the equation. Intelligence, empathy, career path, charm, drive, and grit. This is what men need to be checking out for these modern women, being that they're going to say stupid stuff like this.
This is why you should never accept a coffee date for a first date.
All right, let's hear this one.
Perhaps it sounds convenient to you because you don't need to spend the whole evening with a stranger you may not like.
And despite the fact that that's a perfectly valid reason to go on a coffee date, let's hear why that apparently is not acceptable.
But a guy who just invites you for coffee shows such low effort, it almost shows as if he's not interested in getting to know you.
Based on what?
If he says, let that girl prove herself first before I'm willing to take her out for dinner.
Perish the thought. Because, that actually almost makes sense. And we wouldn't want to do anything that makes sense now, would we?
Let me tell you what this says about you. If you accept a coffee date, that actually shows that you accept the bare minimum. And that shows how you see yourself. Because if you don't see yourself as being worthy of something more than just a coffee, how can he be convinced?
Oh, I don't know. Possibly engage in conversation and get to know each other over coffee. It's almost like that's the entire purpose. But one actually goes on to mention the purpose of dating.
Purpose of dating is to meet new people and maybe to meet a potential boyfriend while having fun. But a coffee date doesn't sound like fun. It sounds more like a job.
To you.
I'll go sit there for half an hour, see if he's worth it, see if I like him, and then we're talking. And then it's the coffee date that becomes a waste of time because how much can you get to know somebody in half an hour to an hour?
Well enough to know if they actually want to go on a second date, I'd imagine, if they actually engage in productive conversation.
Then take you out for dinner and enjoy it. And never forget you're a free woman. If you don't like the guy, kindly excuse yourself and leave.
A person can do that over coffee as well. But just imagine the amount of people that will end up being single if they listen to this type of advice because they're not willing to accept a coffee date.
I'm afraid that men are about to learn rule number 1 of capitalism.
And what would that be?
In order to negotiate, you have to bring value.
Based on what is shown on the screen, it does seem like one is going to try to explain that men have no value.
And in order to strike, you have to be able to take something away from the person that you're trying to strike against. That is the meaning of a strike. It means withholding something until you get your needs or conditions met. That's a strike, okay? So I just have one question for all of y'all.
And what's that?
What is that thing? Go ahead, what is that thing?
Sadly, I believe they're serious in asking that question.
What are you going to withhold from women in any meaningful way that is going to force us to meet your conditions and demands? What will it be? Go ahead, what will it be? What will you withhold from us? Have you thought about that?
I'm fairly certain that they have.
Because I guarantee you, in less than a month's time, tops, I promise you, everybody's going to forget about this.
I highly doubt that. The reason being, because unlike what some believe, this is not about some men going on strike so they can get something out of women. Oh no, it is in fact more about Men holding up a mirror to the face of the behavior that a lot of women have been displaying in regards to their own dating standards. So when men start acting in the exact same way that women do, it definitely seems that some women are not liking the reflection.
What the f***'s wrong with men? I just saw a video that will likely stay with me for years and scar me for years.
All right then, let's hear about it.
There was a video, it looked like, of a gas station. A woman is seen exiting a car and running away, with a man running after her from the same car.
Okay, and?
The woman runs up to another man who is pumping gas, grabs his arm, is seemingly begging for help. The man following her is her boyfriend that she is trying to get away from. He picks her up, slings her over his shoulder, and walks away as she is pounding on his back, screaming at the other man, begging for help. The other man doesn't even react. Like, I don't mean he tries to intervene and then doesn't. I mean he is literally pumping gas. When she runs up to him, his head kind of turns, and other than that, he doesn't move. He doesn't react at all. And he just watches this man drag this woman away and throw her back into the car, and does nothing.
Not surprisingly, I doubt that one is going to like what I have to say about this.
For all the men who say, you can't protect yourself, you just need a man to protect you. Who's going to protect you if, you don't have a man? Men don't do shit. You just become bystanders to our—
Thanks indeed for the demonstration. A demonstration in the fact that I do believe that the education system, possibly on this entire continent, has failed numerous people. Because we have reached the point, and we continue to go past it, actually, where it's becoming very acceptable for an individual to generalize an entire group of people based on the actions of one person. In this case, it's based on their gender. What other generalizations are we going to make now based on the actions of some? I wonder, what's next?
Can someone explain to me how there are grown men in this world that are giving women the silent treatment?
I would be more than pleased to explain that. However, I think the largest part of the explanation is actually in this video.
You know how many comments I see that are like, yeah, when I bring up my feelings, he just doesn't speak. When he's mad at me, he just shuts down.
It's genuinely not that hard to figure out if one actually took a few minutes to think about it.
How does that how is a grown man acting that way? That's not a man, that's a boy.
Did you catch that? It's almost as if part of the explanation was right there, the whole time. And it's like one is refusing to see it. Men being called little boys because they're choosing to remain silent in conversations where they are most likely going to be found in the wrong in the first place. And who can really blame them? Men have been told over and over again when it comes to women, they are always, it seems, in the wrong. To leave women alone, stay out of women's faces, stay out of women's conversations. And now they're being called little boys for choosing self-preservation in cases when they may not know what to say? Oh my goodness, it's really not that hard to figure out.
As a woman, I'm going to tell you what we are not attracted to.
Oh, good. Another one speaking for all women in regards to what they are not attracted to. So let's hear this list.
My number one thing has to be when a man acts feminine.
And in what ways, in one's opinion, does a man act feminine?
And here's a few examples of that. One, if you think that you deserve princess treatment as a man, goodbye. Please take the next bus stop the f*** from me.
I guess we're throwing equal treatment out the window.
So, like most women, I commonly post my Insta post to my Insta story.
Most women do that? Okay.
You see that and you're viewing my Insta story and not liking my posts. Goodbye, get away from me. That gives me just such an ick. I'm like, oh no, ew, you're acting like a girl.
That's a rather specific ick that one thinks that all women seem to have.
If a man asks to go 50-50 for anything, leave.
And here I thought women were independent and could stand on their own 2 feet. Guess not.
If a man can't text you good morning, you're gone.
Ironically, some women find that good morning text to be an ick, so I can imagine that there's a lot of confusion out there.
If a man tries to make you jealous and bring up other girls, literally just disgusting.
Oh, that's fair.
I would rather be friends with them than you. And I say friends because no men in this generation can commit and they think situationships are the new normal. Also, I would never in my life be in a situationship. I just would leave. Cause those men, ick, goodbye.
Sounds like someone's been choosing the exact same type of men and expecting a different result every time. Perhaps improve one's selection.
And I expect you to call and or text them first. Feminine, goodbye.
So wanting a woman to show initiative is now considered to be feminine. Okay.
My own friends treat me better, sir. But yeah, I think a lot of women in this generation are starting to realize we don't need men, they actually need us. And yeah, so don't be afraid to walk away, ladies.
Is anyone else noticing that a lot of these women that are saying they don't need men are the ones that are talking the loudest when they don't happen to have one? Interesting.
How much money is in your guys' bank account?
Let's see how this goes.
I got like 1,200.
Certainly could be worse. Now let's see how much she has.
Like 70K?
Wait, how much?
Yeah.
70K? What you mean 70K?
What do you mean? My dad gave it to me.
Oh, isn't that nice? But let's see why this is relevant.
You made me pay for all this shit and you got 70K in
You're
your
my
bank account.
boyfriend. Why wouldn't you pay for my things?
Wow.
Well, I mean, if you got 70K, I mean, you should be paying for this
Yeah,
shit.
but usually the guy's supposed to pay for the things.
This is a serious problem. Like, I'm not even kidding. I paid for
What are
dinner.
you getting mad at me for?
That was $400.
A $400 dinner. And guess what she says next?
You're supposed to pay for my
You got 70K.
You're my boyfriend. You're supposed to
you-
pay.
Supposed to pay. Holy entitlement.
Yo, dude, this is actually...
It's not my fault you're broke. How is that my fault?
Well, expecting him to pay for all of your stuff, including $400 dinners, certainly isn't helping.
We're done then.
What do you mean we're done?
Then. We're done then.
If you're gonna scream at me, then leave.
It's just my opinion. But I don't think he was wrong at all for leaving. Can't blame him one little bit. Some of you may need to sit down for this one.
I don't like when men know how to cook.
Yes, they really said that. When men know how to cook is their biggest ick.
Why do you know how to cook?
The most likely answer to that question is that they had someone in their life that cared enough about them to teach them some of the basic life skills that they would need when they became adults and started living life out on their own, so that they wouldn't have to rely on restaurants, fast food, or those ever so convenient microwave and instant meals in order to be able to provide a meal for themselves.
That's a problem.
What was that?
That's a problem.
But why is it such a problem? Is it really such a foreign concept that a man would actually know how to prepare a decent meal? Not even taking into consideration the large amount of male chefs that are out there, some of which are world famous. But in cases like this, where a woman gets the ick from a guy knowing how to cook, it seems more likely that her delicate feminine sensibilities are being threatened by the possibility that the man could outdo her in the kitchen.
At this point, these modern women just want to hear themselves talk. That's really it. And they wonder why they can't find a man to date them. They wonder why the modern dating landscape is so extremely hard for them. Why they can't find a rich provider man to hook their fangs, sink their fangs into. It's because you continue to say stupid stuff like this for no reason, unprompted.
Why is it that the finest guys in the world, and also single, never leave the house? Is there a reason for that?
It's actually quite simple. A lot of guys that are single have really come to enjoy the peace and tranquility that often comes with that. And the easiest way to maintain that is to stay at home.
Men are so jealous of women, especially beautiful women.
Oh, are they? And why would that be?
Of all of that anger and all of that jealousy is the patriarchy.
Of course. Everything comes down eventually to the patriarchy, doesn't it?
The reality is that men are expected to wake up early every single day and go to work and get a paycheck and pay for bills, not only for themselves, but for their wives, their girlfriends, any future kids they might have.
What time period is one currently living in? Because the last time that I checked, women are actually expected to get up and go to work too.
They have to do hard manual labor or work their way up a corporate ladder, but women don't have to do that.
Silly me and a lot of other women were getting up in the morning for no reason, apparently.
And it makes y'all so upset that girls like me or other beautiful girls can capitalize off of our looks and make an amazing living.
I get it. It's those of us that aren't as conventionally attractive as others that have to go to work. Is that it?
And I'm not saying at all that just because a girl is pretty, she doesn't have to work hard or she isn't a hard worker. If anything, you kind of have to work a little bit harder to get over the bias of being pretty.
I'm not even going to touch that.
But there's no denying that there are so many life advantages to being attractive. This goes for men and women, but for whatever reason, it makes men so upset. The fact that I make the money that I do and I have the lifestyle that I have because of my looks and what I post on social media really upsets y'all. Because y'all wish y'all had it this easy and y'all don't, so you're angry.
No, that's not it at all. It's not how someone looks that tends to upset people. It's the entitled attitude that a lot of individuals that are very attractive seem to have because they do seem entitled to a great many things that they are actually not.
So I went on a first date and a car was about to hit me and he grabbed me and pulled me away.
Well, I guess contrary to popular opinion, there are guys out there that still know how to behave like gentlemen.
And I don't know why, but that just gave me the ick.
Oh, of course it did. Let's hear why.
Because it's literally the first date. Why are you so obsessed with me? Like, it was just so desperate. And it's like, play it cool.
Wow. I mean, seriously, wow. This has to be satire. Please tell me that this was satire. Or maybe rage bait for views, possibly. Because it's almost too much to believe that an individual would actually get the ick from a guy saving them from such a situation. And then again, after seeing the other icks that are listed out there, it doesn't really come as a surprise. But I would like to point out that there would be a lot more complaining if the guy actually didn't save her from that situation. Guys just can't seem to win, can they?
What happened to men pursuing girls?
Are we really asking this question?
When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort?
I don't think there was a pivotal moment. However, there's been lots of little moments that have added up to a large awakening of a lot of men in regards to whether or not it's worth it to chase women.
Seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to.
Well, what's considered to be the bare minimum seems to change on a daily basis, so how can anyone truly know what the bare minimum even is?
They're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort?
That's an excellent question. Indeed. Why don't they?
Did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him.
I imagine that happened somewhere around the same time that a lot of women were indicating to men that they want them to leave them alone. So, in a lot of cases, they got exactly what they asked for.
That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore and don't care to put in effort.
But why should they? When the possible benefits of pursuing a woman are often far outweighed by the risks that they undertake in pursuing those same women. It's honestly just not worth it for a lot of men to pursue women, especially when so many women want to be seen as independent and left alone.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive.
Wait, what did they say? Let's hear that again.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive.
Okay. Yeah, that's really what they said.
Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10. If you're a 10, you're probably not catcalling.
Yeah, no, 10s don't catcall. In fact, gentlemen don't catcall. But let's even take it a step further. No person should be catcalling another. That's not what people that know how to conduct themselves actually should be doing. Anyone that has manners would actually know better.
But don't do it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that unless you're sexy.
Isn't that just lovely? What a wonderful example that is of how perception really does matter. Because if a person is considered to be attractive, their actions could possibly be considered to be flirtatious. While on the other hand, if they're not considered to be attractive, their actions may be perceived as just harassment.
One of the influencers who's got 500 million followers on social media just got engaged, and this is her ring. What do you think?
What I think is we're about to hear someone's opinion on that.
Here's the truth. An engagement ring must hurt a man financially to prove that he has long-term intention.
Oh, it's fun to be right. But the real truth is that is the very definition of just an opinion.
Just like everything in life, financial investment equals to mental commitment.
Oh, does it now? I think that there are many people out there that might not agree with that. But let's hear this person's opinion why.
It's like comparing the bag that you spent $20 on and the one that you spent $2,000 on.
Are we really going to compare investing in a relationship by virtue of buying an expensive engagement ring to a woman buying a handbag? I guess so.
Do you care if the $20 bag gets scratched, get wet? No, you don't. But do you care if the Chanel bag get dirty and would you replace it so easily? No, you won't, because you've made a substantial financial investment in it.
Well, it's just me, but I wouldn't spend $2,000 on a handbag, period.
The more you invest in something, the more likely you're gonna cherish it and fix it when it's broken, not replace it. Marriage is the same.
Is that implying that we can chalk up those high divorce rates to people not investing enough money in their marriages?
An engagement ring should be a substantial financial investment from the man's side upfront to prove his long-term intention to a woman.
And here I thought determining a person's true intentions was determined on their actions and how they treat another person, not on how much money they spend.
This man came up to me on the subway to ask for my phone number.
Well, it looks like there still are some guys approaching women.
He should have just asked for $1 at that point. He would have gained more from that conversation than that.
Oh dear. It doesn't sound like it went very well, does it?
He had the audacity to be like, wait, hold up. Do you have a boyfriend? Because I don't talk to girls in relationships.
Wait, that's a bad thing that he asked? How so?
I don't talk to men who aren't competitive, okay? If you can't fight, just say that.
Wow. And here I thought it just sounded like the guy was being respectful.
Stop trying to act like you're a good person. You're not a good person. You're approaching a woman alone on the subway. You're a terrible human being.
Wait, what?
Why not be like, what's your boyfriend's address? Let me kill him with my bare hands and then take you out for dinner. Romance. Learn it.
Well, doesn't that sound like the beginnings of a very healthy relationship?
Men don't know how to talk to women nowadays.
And a lot of women really don't seem to know what they want either. And they seem to have gotten their ideas of what romance actually is from a novel that they picked up at the grocery store.
Ladies,
Yes?
if he's not offering to pay for your manicure pedicure,
And why exactly should he be paying for that? One's own personal beauty maintenance should be one's own personal responsibility.
really, what is he doing with that money?
Oh, I think I know the answer to this one. He could be paying his bills, paying his rent or his house payment, saving away for his retirement. You know, doing something useful with his money.
Because you deserve your nails done. And he should be paying.
Is anyone else getting the feeling that a lot of these so-called independent women really aren't independent at all?
And if he hasn't gotten the hint by now, just send him this video. Just give him a little sign. A wake-up call.
Well, that'll be quite a wake-up call. Quite a doozy, in fact, I'd imagine. Just imagine getting sent this video, only to realize that you're not actually with someone who wants to be with you because of who you are, but what they can get out of you, sponging off of you so that they can get the things paid for that they want. What a great way to find out that one is not in a great relationship.
Do modern women ever sit back when they're dating and say, I'm tired of saying stupid stuff. This life just does not suit me anymore. I'm over 25. It's time for me to start taking my life seriously. No, probably not. They're all looking for the same thing. A rich provider man that's generous. He's over 6 feet, 6-pack, 6 figures. And they're all crashing and burning. And it's their own fault because they make silly videos like this.
I think any man that's their number one requirement for a woman is
Oh, let's hear what this is about.
for a woman to be his piece. You just know you're dealing with a true menace to the dating pool.
All because he wants peace in a relationship. He's a menace to the dating pool? Oh, goodness.
Because what the f do you mean you need me to be your piece?
What does it really sound like? It sounds like the guy wants his partner to bring peace to his life, not to bring problems. I didn't think it was that complicated.
If you gotta ask for peace, you're a piece of shit, honestly.
What? Why would a person say such a thing? Could it be that individuals with this particular mindset actually do understand how priceless it is for a person to be able to bring peace to another in a relationship? Because at the end of the day, all they have to offer, all they can indeed bring to the table, is chaos with drama.
If we were dating, would I need to pay for your hair and your nails?
And here we go.
Honestly, yeah.
And let's hear why they think that.
Gives you that mentality.
I mean, like, if you want me to look good, then you gotta pay for it.
But I'm sure many of us have asked ourselves this next question.
But if you were doing it before I came into your life, why do I have to start doing that now that I'm your man?
I would say because you would want me to look good, so you would want me to do those things.
So basically they're saying, if the guy doesn't pay for it, that means they're not going to do their hair and their nails anymore. And it'll be the guy's fault if they don't look good, because they weren't doing it for themselves in the first place. Right?
How much do your nails cost?
Probably like anywhere between 60 to 80. Like every 3 weeks.
And hair?
Depending on the hair, sometimes $90, sometimes $1,000.
Wait, how much? What exactly are they doing to one's hair that it costs $1,000?
Why would it cost $1,000 to get your hair done?
If you get like extensions, if you get treatments put in your hair, like, I don't know. I like to have nice hair, so.
The price of vanity.
Is there ever a time where you would pay for your man's haircut or...
No. No. No, I'm not paying for his haircut.
And that's because?
That's a man's job.
Is anyone else noticing that all of these independent women, at the end of the day, just want to be fully dependent on a man? Well, whatever is the matter? I thought that's what some women wanted, to be treated as equals to men. And that seems to be exactly what's going on here. Or did one not notice the men also standing around waiting for seats? Or is that part of the problem? Is it that some women only want to be treated as equals to men when it serves their purpose and benefits them, but if it doesn't, maybe they are wanting to just be treated better than men?
I'm confused about two beautiful women.
And what exactly could have these two beautiful women confused?
Can't even get talked to.
Let's consider the possibilities. The first being that a lot of guys probably already assume that one is probably in a relationship, so it's not worth their time to bother. The second is that a lot of attractive women have put out there that unless a guy is up to their standards, they're not even going to consider him. So if a guy isn't certain that he's going to meet those high standards, then he's not going to try. Also, a lot of guys are tired of having their hearts broken, of being rejected, and they're just not wanting to have a relationship, so that's another reason. But I think the biggest reason is what a lot of women have put out there themselves on social media, is that they want men to leave them alone. They'd rather choose the bear, and that they don't need men at all. And the men have been hearing this. They've been listening. And so, unfortunately for those women that do want to be approached by men, a lot of other women have actually put a stop to that. So if one is wondering why men don't approach women anymore, I think one knows where to lay the blame.
I saw this really cute guy at the grocery store the other day.
Okay, so what happened?
So naturally, I followed him to the checkout counter, and when he gave the cashier his credit card, I peeped it to see what his name was. And then I Googled him and found his social media profiles, and I was able to tell that he was single. So I went through his friends list and I found his mother's page.
There's a word for all of this.
And then I looked through his mother's page and I saw that she was a member of this book club that's in my area. So I sent a request to join the book club. So I went to the book club meeting and I met his mom there, and we bonded over some books that we both liked, and she just thought I was so nice.
Little did she know.
And I brought it up randomly in conversation that I was single, and she let me know that she had a son that was single also that lived in the area, and maybe it would be cool for us to get together and chat sometime. So I gave her my number, which she gave to her son, and this morning he texted me and asked if I'd like to get together this weekend and do something. So I guess we're gonna go on a date. I'm really excited.
My goodness, just think, one could have avoided having to put on that entire ruse if one would have just walked up to the guy and started a conversation, and maybe one would have gotten his number that way. I can't imagine how thrilled he's going to be to find out the actual details of how you actually met.
I don't know. A couple words come to mind. Fraud, stalker, identity theft, and many other things. And yet modern women feel comfortable enough in this society to get online and say things like this without fear of backlash, without fear of consequence, because society allows it to go on.
You know how I know that men are literally dogs?
Literally. And that's opposed to figuratively.
Because a woman will be with a man for 5, 6, 7, sometimes even 10 years, begging for this man to put a ring on it. And
the question that should be being asked here is, first of all, why is she hanging around that long for a man that obviously isn't going to propose? Not to mention, she could have proposed herself. But all in all, it's just showing a lack of self-esteem.
And he goes, no, like, I'm just not ready, I'm not ready. She goes,
no, it wasn't that he wasn't ready, per se. It's that he wasn't ready to marry her.
You know what? F off, I'm giving you the ultimatum. You either marry me or we break things off. Majority of the time, men will go, you know what? We're just going to break things off then. And within 1 year, a single year, this man will be engaged to another woman.
Like I said, and I'll say it again, he just wasn't ready to marry her. So pay attention, ladies. Most men know very early on in the stages of a relationship if they actually want to marry the woman that they're dating. So don't sit around waiting for years and begging for a man to marry you that has already made up his mind a long time ago that he doesn't want to.
Ladies, do not ever date the ugly guy.
Well, there's something indeed to be said for putting a person's shallowness on full display.
I know, he's nice, he's funny, he is so into you, he's so much fun. Right now, he is. He has to be all of those things right now because he knows he's got a face for radio, so he better work on that charm.
Right, because they couldn't have possibly anything else to offer.
Gonna date you, this woman who seems pretty far out of his league, right? A woman who also treats him really well with dignity and kindness.
So what exactly is the problem here?
He's gonna start thinking, you know what? Maybe I've got a lot to offer.
Oh, heaven forbid someone actually gains some self-confidence.
Treat a mediocre man like a king. He actually starts believing he's a king.
What I'm hearing so far is that a person shouldn't be treated well unless they measure up to a certain standard of attractiveness in a relationship.
And he goes out there to spin the block to see if he can get even better than you. He won't. He won't. He'll find a lot out there, maybe a couple crazy gals or two.
Because apparently, only crazy individuals would date someone who isn't conventionally attractive, right?
Date the hot guy instead, seriously, because they never ever actually become that. They don't have those same feelings of shame and defectiveness, that insecurity like the ugly guy.
I almost can't believe what I'm hearing, but believe it or not, there are individuals out there that actually believe you can tell everything you need to know about a person based just on what they look like.
I'll never ever ever win with the ugly guy.
And sometimes what is most unattractive about a person is their personality.
I just don't understand how men talk badly about women who wear makeup because it's unnatural and it's tricking them when they have beards.
Really? One is actually trying to compare these two things, when the makeup that most men are referring to in this particular instance is when women put on so much makeup and in such a technique that it completely changes the way that they look. They're not talking about minimalist makeup. They're talking about the makeup that makes them look like a completely different person once they wash it off their face. That's not even comparable to a beard that does grow in naturally.
When they have full-grown beards covering up like 90% of their face. And then the first thing they say when you say that is, oh, well, my beard grows naturally. Your makeup isn't natural.
Facts really do hurt feelings these days, don't they?
And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. What about all the patches and all those oils you had to use to make your beard grow and fall and keep it all trimmed up and nice? Is that natural? Oh, it's not? Oh.
Yet that's still more natural than a lot of the makeup trends out there.
Men who say makeup is unnatural will also judge women who decide not to shave their underarms. Like, that's not natural? I guess it only matters if you're attracted to it. That's when it matters.
No matter how far one tries to reach on that particular subject, it has always mattered what a person finds to be attractive. And I can absolutely understand a man not being attracted to a woman whose face entirely changes once she washes it.
I get my nails done with my child support check.
Oh, how lovely. Because that's precisely what it's supposed to be used for, right?
And this week it was only $23.96.
I guess one might just have to forego getting one's nails done then, and put that money where it's supposed to go, towards the children.
Should I call my baby daddy and ask him where's the rest?
Absolutely. But do ensure that you let him know what exactly one plans on using it for.
How much money does a guy need to make in order to be with you?
I'm sure that it will be a reasonable amount, as they seem like a very down-to-earth person.
Way over 5 mil.
I'm sorry, how much? Was that per year?
Over 5 million?
Yes.
Per year?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, why? That is a very valid question. Why would a man have to make over $5 million a year just to have a chance of dating someone?
Why?
Because that's how much... Never mind.
Who caught that? Shall we listen to that again?
Why?
Because that's how much... Never mind.
So over $5 million a year in order to be with you?
Yes.
And this is one of the many reasons I think that good women are actually having problems finding good men. Because guys are honestly being inundated with this type of thing all of the time. Because some women out there think that they are worth a partner that makes over $5 million a year just because they're young and pretty. I wonder how that's going to work when age finally catches up to them.
Modern men have no courage.
Oh? Do tell.
Which is something men used to pride themselves in. It was lumped into chivalry, part of being a man.
Anyone willing to bet this is about modern dating?
Now you don't even have the courage to go talk to a girl?
Ooh, it's fun to be right.
None of you are approaching women.
Why should they? There's countless videos out there of women telling men to leave them alone, and men are actually listening. And now some seem upset about that.
None of you seem confident.
How could they possibly be confident? What is considered to be the bare minimum and the requirements that some women have for dating keep shifting on a daily basis, from the unreasonable to the outlandish.
And coming from a girl, I swear to you, all it takes is a little bit of courage to stand out. Yes, the gym is going to help. Yes, fashion is going to help. Yes, you need to be a good man. But none of that is going to matter if you're not willing to put yourself out there.
The biggest thing that one isn't taking into account here is that a lot of men are just tired of all the games. They would actually just prefer the peace of being single.
Are you going to fail on many approaches? Absolutely. But who cares? I know it hurts, but what else are you going to do?
They're going to sit happily at home not having to worry about if they're tall enough, if they make enough money, or most importantly, who's cheating on them.
So much more control over your own destiny here. I'm too short, I'm too poor, modern women aren't worth it, feminism ruined everything, are just a bunch of lame-ass, cop-out excuses.
But are they? All this is really telling me is that ultimately, a lot of women really don't understand most men, and it shows.
If you are broke, you should not be dating.
Okay, I wonder if that applies to women as well as men.
I'm not saying if you're broke, you're not worthy of love and happiness.
Well, that's good, because that would be a very classist mentality.
You're just not worthy of me.
No, so this is a pay-to-play kind of thing, is it?
Just kidding. You need to focus on yourself. Broke guys are usually the most insecure guys on the planet. I swear to God.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure they're very happy and secure in the fact that they don't have to worry about dating someone who's only after their money.
It's not necessarily their fault.
Oh?
Because as a society, we have prided men and we have made their self-worth contingent on how much money they make or their profession.
As a society, is it? Well then, it seems like some women are doing a great job of perpetuating that.
The broke men, they walk around with a chip on their shoulder.
Is anyone else wondering what they actually consider to be broke?
If you don't like your circumstances, try to do something about it. Don't be mad at everyone else. Especially not me. What did I do?
Well, one is perpetuating the idea that men aren't worth dating unless they make a certain amount of money every year, which is really no different than men saying that they won't date a woman unless she looks a certain way. But yet, lots of women find reasons to get mad at that.
I wonder if modern women ever think about what they're going to say when they get up and before they go on these podcasts. Like, I was saying some pretty stupid stuff yesterday. How much stupider could I get today with the things that I say? How much? Where are all the good men? Why are men not wanting to date me? Why are men walking away from marriage? Because y'all continue to get on y'all's podcast and say silly things like this.
The only time having a boyfriend is worth it
is when
he is able to fully support you and pay all your bills. I said it.
Yeah, you said it. But wouldn't it just be so much easier to admit that one is broke and can't actually handle being an adult and paying one's own bills?
He's not your husband. If you're going to be a girlfriend to someone, he needs to be paying all your bills. Otherwise, why is he there? What is his purpose?
Well, I could think of several reasons actually, but what do I know?
He's just a boyfriend. Meaning if he leaves you, and a boyfriend is not a legal title.
Congratulations for figuring that part out.
If he leaves you and promises you marriage, leaves you with nothing, you get nothing.
At least they understand the basics.
But if he's paying all your bills, you're able to save money, you're able to invest into businesses that you want to do. If he leaves you, you're leaving with something else at the end of it.
Another example of a strong, independent woman who can stand on their own 2 feet. Not at all a gold digger.
But to date a guy and be someone's girlfriend for free?
Is it just me, or is some women completely lost when it comes to actually understanding what the concept of dating is?
Being someone's girlfriend is not worth it, okay? No. If you're gonna be a girlfriend, he needs to be paying a bill or two. These bills are due. I'm not usually anyone's girlfriends, but I'll make that exception for you if you're willing to pay some bills. If you're willing to pay a bill or two.
I can just imagine all the men running to that woman's profile to take advantage of that situation. Right.
Men love toxic women.
No, the good men actually don't. Only toxic men like toxic women.
Men love women that are selfish, that are self-centered, that are self-obsessed, that are so busy fixing their own makeup in the mirror when another woman walks into the restaurant and he's checking her out.
Only men that are interested in having a woman around as a piece of arm candy are interested in women like that.
And why is it that men are always ending up with the women? They don't really care about them.
Well, those men that this individual happens to be referring to don't actually care about those women.
The reason, my loves, is because they like things that are hard to get. Men are hunters. They love the chase. They love the thrill of the chase. They actually bond with you while they're chasing you, while they're pursuing you. They love to conquer women.
Right.
If you as a woman are self-obsessed, selfish, self-centered, it means
that you're likely going to end up in one of two situations, either with a man that genuinely doesn't care about you, or alone.
That you have non-negotiables about your own schedule, about your own life. You have an own exciting life because you freaking love yourself.
Let's be very clear about something here. In order for a person to be in a healthy relationship, both individuals in that relationship should be happy with themselves and love themselves. And remember that someone who is truly happy with themselves won't be toxic to others simply to get a reaction.
Unpopular opinion, but I literally think that women should be paid to exist.
Oh goodness. And why is that?
I know y'all are probably gonna be like, what? But no, follow me on this.
I really hope that one is bringing a map and a compass along for this little journey.
So one, our bodies literally create life, y'all.
Literally, no they don't. It takes a male and a female to create life, but let's continue.
That within itself, it beats any freaking invention that a man can come up with. any tech company. Like, no.
Like, wow, if only it were true that a woman's body created life, that would mean something.
So one, that's why you should get paid. And then even women who like have already had children, they should still get paid because guess what?
What?
Like the life of a mother, like that's a whole job within itself.
What about fathers?
I literally think that we should receive monthly incomes for being women. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm being so serious. I'm being so serious.
And that was almost the saddest part of the whole video, next to thinking that a human being should be paid to exist just because they have certain body parts.
An entire video.
I don't think you can judge her when you make 300 videos a day of exactly the same thing.
Wait, one wouldn't specifically be referring to the individual that called a woman racist because she referred to another woman as rude. Really? And 300 videos a day? My goodness, where do I find the time? But yes, they are along similar subject lines of calling out problematic behavior. So with that, let's continue.
Talking a whole lot, but still adding nothing productive to any conversation.
Oh, I talk a whole lot and don't add anything productive to the conversation. It rather sounds like someone hasn't been paying very close attention to my videos at all.
I'd step off the high horse if I were you.
High horse? So to clarify, my videos pointing out problematic behaviors and sentiments is apparently my being on a high horse. Well, that's interesting. But I was curious. In regards to adding anything productive to the conversation, what exactly has one contributed thus far? Or is one just going to come into my live again and criticize my eyeliner?
I am so done with guys.
And why would that be?
So he asked me what's wrong, and I said, I'm fine. You wanna know what he said?
I would be willing to bet I already know the answer to that question, as most likely does everyone else.
He said, okay, good.
Who here is surprised that he said that?
What do you mean, okay, good? What? Part of I'm fine means that I'm fine. What's wrong with these people?
Please take the following into consideration. 99 times out of 100, if a guy is told by a woman that she's doing fine, he's going to believe her. Or else he's going to assume that she doesn't want to talk about it, since she said she was doing fine. Why press the issue? Guys tend to take things at face value. If you wanted him to ask about how you were feeling, or argue with you that you're not doing fine, just be honest. Tell him you're not doing well. Don't play games. Don't expect him to be a mind reader. Just tell him what you're actually feeling. It's not really that hard to figure out.
Every single man in an age gap relationship is a giant creepy weirdo.
And this is supposed to be a professional opinion coming from a PhD student.
There are no exceptions.
No exceptions. Every single one. I guess while taking all of those courses to get one's PhD, one should have probably taken at least one course in logic.
My dad, weirdo. George Clooney, weirdo. I don't care if he's 100 and she's 80. Big fat giant weirdo.
Big fat giant weirdo. I know it's always that professional use of clinical terminology that gets me every single time and definitely solidifies those arguments. But to satisfy my own curiosity, exactly what page is that particular terminology listed on in the DSM-5 so I can read up on it?
However, every single woman dating an older man, you can't judge her. You can't judge her. She's doing something. She's working on something. Just give her a minute.
Of course. Because after all, no video being used to disparage men in some way would be complete without the use of some kind of double standard. It's no small wonder after seeing this why so many individuals in this country are losing faith in the American education system, especially if this is an example of a professional opinion from a PhD student.
Would you date a guy that makes $35K a year?
Oh, I just love these.
No.
Why not?
I mean, yeah, why not? What's wrong, after all, with a guy that makes $35K a year?
I just wouldn't.
Is it about the money or something else?
I just don't think that could support my lifestyle.
I really wonder what some individuals out there actually do with all their money.
So how much do you expect him to make for you to have a comfortable life together?
I don't want to say this.
Oh, that's a good sign.
$1 million-ish?
$1 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else wondering if that gentleman would also have to be at least 6 foot tall?
So with that $1 million, what kind of lifestyle are you looking to have?
I'm sure a great many of us were actually wondering that very thing.
I want to be able to travel, have a big family,
Okay.
give them everything they want and need, and also have money for myself.
Okay. So does your boyfriend make $1 million a year?
No.
But is he on his way?
Yes, I think so.
So you want him to make $1 million when you're ready to have a family soon enough?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You don't expect him to make $1 million right now.
No, of course not.
Of course not. But I'm sure there's a deadline.
Okay, we gotta talk about this because men don't tell women how they feel. Do you know that?
Yes, we know that. And there's usually a good reason why men don't share their feelings.
You guys keep it all bottled up inside
Because it's safer that way.
and you tell your little side chick,
And not all guys have side chicks.
but you don't tell your wife.
If they're not telling their wife or their significant other about their feelings, it's likely because they've done that before and had it blow up in their face.
We don't know how you feel.
Because a lot of times when men open up to women, they often end up regretting it because it's used against them. They are told that they are weak for feeling the way that they do, or their feelings are completely dismissed.
And that's not our problem. If we don't know how you feel, how are we gonna change it?
Maybe try being more observant and actually pay attention to what's really going on in that man's life.
Start telling your wife how you feel. Give her the brutal, honest truth. Give it to her. See what happens.
It's been my experience that a lot of women in these type of situations can't handle the brutal truth about anything, let alone about a man's feelings, and the possibilities for disaster simply boggle the mind.
Stop giving ugly guys a chance. Stop it.
But what really makes a person unattractive? Honestly, I think it's their personality more than anything, but let's hear more.
Beautiful women giving ugly men a chance legitimizes them to other beautiful women.
I always love hearing advice from the shallow end of the dating pool.
We have seen this time and time again. We've seen this with Pete Davidson. We see this with Clinton Kane. The minute you give an ugly guy a chance, it doesn't make, you're not any safer with the ugly guy. You're just going to get burned by an ugly guy, and then you're going to legitimize him to other hot girls.
Uh-huh.
Women are a social currency.
A social currency. Well, isn't that nice?
I will say this until I'm blue in the face and you guys will never listen to me, but if you are a beautiful woman, if you pour a lot into being beautiful, you need to treat that seriously. That is commodified. That's commodified more than anything in this world is commodified.
So what's the point of this little monologue?
Beautiful women are more commodified than anything that happens in this world. That the only thing that gives businesses legitimacy is whether or not beautiful women are involved.
Really? Oh, the implications are mind-boggling here.
Ugly men have figured out a way to do the dance and check all the boxes that they think you want them to check. And it doesn't make them sincere. It means they're an ugly guy who figured it out. And he knows the minute he bags one baddie, the rest will just come rolling in. The odds that you get burned by an ugly guy versus a hot guy are so much higher because they have a chip on their shoulder.
I really kind of wonder what the point of all of that was, unless, of course, they're just trying to say that if a person's going to get hurt in a relationship, make sure it's by someone really good looking. Right.
You think women with armpit hair are attractive?
No. Children? Is that what you're into? Children? Because they're the only ones who don't have it.
Really? I hope no muscles were pulled making that reach. By the way, nice necklace.
Why do men not understand hints in the slightest way possible?
Why should men have to start understanding hints? Why can't individuals that have something to say just speak their mind? It would be a lot easier and save everyone an awful lot of time.
Can someone please tell me where the masculine men are out there?
I suppose that depends on what one's definition of masculine is. However, they happen to be everywhere, but a lot of them are hiding.
Seems like there's more men nowadays that want to be the woman in the relationship.
Let's hear this one out.
What happened to the chivalrous man? They're far and few between.
Modern feminism happened, convincing men that they suffered from toxic masculinity and that women can do everything on their own so they don't need men to act in a chivalrous manner.
If you are them, where do we find you?
They've been out there the whole time, but frankly, a lot of them are avoiding contact with a lot of women because they never know which ones are going to yell at them for holding open a door.
It's not the local Home Depot. I've seen that trend. Like, oh, go find your man at Home Depot. No, the guy that's there on a Saturday morning is there because his wife sent him there to get the shortcut project.
Okay.
Maybe I can find you at Costco in the meat market.
Meat market, huh? Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
But literally, what happened to the masculine men? Where do I find you? Where do women in general find you? And when did men become such little dusty boys? All right, rant over.
Honestly, women have no one but themselves to blame for this and modern feminism because they constantly demanded that men change their ways and stop being so toxically masculine, and this is the result. So, again, be careful what one asks for, because you just might get it. Haven't done one of these in a while, but you'll never guess what made the ick list.
I think it's an ick when a guy has abs in his late 20s or 30s and he's not a professional athlete.
Yeah, having abs for a guy after they've reached a certain age, unless they're in certain professions, is an ick now. I guess body shaming is alright in certain circumstances now.
Clearly, like, they're overcompensating for something that they have to have, like, 3% body fat.
I've found that quite often those individuals who are unhappy with themselves are often the first to say that others are compensating for something.
Unless you're making money from your abs, why the f*** do you have abs?
What exactly would be so difficult about allowing people to be happy with the bodies that they choose to have and worked very hard to get? Because those so-called icky abs that someone doesn't like, apparently, took those gentlemen long, hard hours to get and maintain. So I guess, really, they're just going to have to accept the fact that their opinions probably don't matter to those individuals whose abs they don't like.
Or all the f***ing that say, have you ever thought maybe you're the problem? Have you ever shut the fuck?
Oh, goody. Copious amounts of swearing to help drive the point home. That always helps in these kind of situations.
Have you ever thought that maybe you're the problem?
I wonder if the constant yelling could be a bit of a problem.
Did you know, sir, that if all men were obliterated right now,
Oh, here we go.
that women would feel so much safer and so much happier on Earth?
Now, if every single woman agreed with that, that would mean something. However, this is yet another reminder of why a person should only speak for themselves and not an entire demographic.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe being emotionally unavailable is the problem?
Emotionally unavailable versus emotionally unstable. I think I know which one I'd prefer.
Maybe try not being such a f***.
And yet the voice of experience speaks yet again.
I am so tired of giving chances, putting men on pedestals, just to be stomped on underneath said pedestal that I put you on, because you really ain't shit.
If a person keeps encountering the same problem over and over again, likely it has less to do with the choice available and more likely to do with the person making the choices.
And I can't stress this enough. You're all roaches!
Well, I certainly hope they feel better after that little outburst, but this is just a reminder. Not all women think that way.
Nothing to see here, just modern women continuing to talk themselves out of relationships, continuing to talk themselves out of anything good happening to them. I don't think modern women realize just how much men do. Well, let me take that back. I think they realize it. They just don't care. They think that their lives are more important, and it's something that they deserve. They deserve the man's servitude. They deserve a man to bow down. Modern women need to get a grip.
No, just like all I'm saying is a guy would have to be a weirdo to not want to spend New Year's Eve with me. Like,
Something tells me the reason has little to nothing to do with the dress.
you don't want to walk in with me dressed like this on New Year's Eve? You don't want to kiss me at midnight?
No, with that charming personality, I can't imagine why they aren't lining up.
Giving weirdo energy. You're a weirdo for that.
Well then, after seeing that, it's probably no small wonder to a great many people why the gentleman in question most likely chose one of more two peaceful options for New Year's Eve. Either he decided to spend the night peacefully and quietly at home, or decided to celebrate and bring in the new year with his male friends. Because, after all, there is something to be said for being able to enjoy the company that one keeps. And just because someone looks good in a dress doesn't mean that their company is conducive to actually enjoying the evening.
Men will come on social media and they'll say, I want a girl who never had a hoe phase. I want a girl who's never been a hoe.
So some guys are expressing their stricter standards. What exactly is wrong with that?
Meanwhile, that man is following bikini models, lingerie models, a bunch of half-naked women on social media.
Newsflash. Most men are visually motivated. This shouldn't come as a surprise.
If that's your following list, if that's what you're looking at on social media or on the internet, if that's your search history, you are in your hoe phase. That is hoe behavior.
Yes, we have arrived at that point where looking at attractive people now means that a person is in their hoe phase. Remember, ladies, this is true of you too.
Don't come on here blasting out your preferences for a woman. You're not husband material. You can't make a guy that's got a nasty search history a husband.
Heard it here first. A person is no longer marriage material if they enjoy looking at attractive people on the internet. I really hope none of these women follow any attractive men.
You're not husband material. So clean that up, figure that out, look within, figure out why you're looking at naked woman after naked woman, bikini model after bikini model. Look deep within and figure out
What's going on there? That's tacky behavior. Yeah, so figure that out before you even come on here saying what you're looking for in a wife and a girlfriend. You got some stuff to work out first.
Frankly, it would have just been easier to admit that one can't meet a man's standards in regards to what he looks for in a partner than trying to shame them for looking at women in bikinis.
We have to say all men until all men stop women.
If we were to utilize that same logic towards women, would it be okay then to say that all women make false accusations against men because only a handful of them do?
Anybody trying to date me, my bills are your bills. So
And here we have another individual who has confused the rules of dating with the rules of marriage.
I don't care whose car it is. You're trying to date me. You're trying to take a load off of me.
Exactly when did dating come to mean taking the load off of someone financially? And here I thought dating was just about getting to know someone. When did that definition change?
So my car is your car. You cover the bills. I don't.
No, that's not what that means. If a person is just dating, no. Their property is still their property, and their responsibilities are still only theirs. It's not the other person's responsibility to financially take care of that person.
Simple. You're trying to date me, so my bills are your bills. Period.
But the simplest thing of all is that individuals with this particular thought process aren't going to end up being the most unhappy, because the individuals that they find are actually willing to support them financially just when they're dating and not when they're married are going to be the ones that they're the most unhappy with, because they have the lowest levels of self-esteem and self-worth. And they're going to find themselves wondering, where are all the real men at? Well, the real men are the ones that won't put up with this type of behavior.
My hot take of the day is that men don't deserve Father's Day.
Hot take? No, but that certainly is some kind of take.
And they don't deserve a day fully dedicated to them.
But why ever not? I'm sure that one is going to explain that, right?
And no, I'm not going to explain.
Of course not. But don't worry, I don't think it came as a great surprise to anyone that one would be reluctant to try to explain one's position. After all, those individuals who make statements such as these on the internet often do find great difficulty in being able to specifically articulate why they hold such an opinions and being able to justify them in any way that makes any kind of logical sense. But don't worry, I absolutely understand that making content such as this is becoming increasingly popular, especially for some women, because at the end of the day, it's their approval that they're seeking. They're seeking approval from other women. To be told that they did a good job, that they stood up to the patriarchy, that they tried to take men down a peg. Because, let's be honest, that's the real reason that people make this type of content.
We can call it what it is. It's a dumb take. Modern women, for some reason, feel like they can sit up in a house that a man is paying for. But let's say y'all are splitting the house 50-50. He's paying half of that, and you're still talking stupid about him. Let's say you're the breadwinner, and he's, making, 30K, you're making 70K. He's still contributing 30% to the bills. And y'all in any phase have the audacity to say stupid stuff like this. Well, he's only contributing 30%, so he should be. Let me tell you how it works in reverse. When there are sometimes y'all contribute nothing financially, 0% financially, but you want to have a say in everything. That's how that works. So in this situation here, how about you have a little bit more respect for your husband? Please. Modern women logic.
Trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes, finance, trust fund.
Should I say it? Well, why not? Is anyone else thinking what I'm thinking? Do they charge by the hour or is it a daily rate?
A man is never truly single, not by choice.
Is that so?
It can be he will be in some sort of situationship or talking to someone, hooking up with someone, or like trying to take someone out. And if he's not, he's going to be actively on the hunt, actively trying to pursue someone and get someone. That's just the way they are.
Is it really?
They're never single the way that women are single. Like girls will be single as in they haven't talked to anyone in like a year and they're like in their celibate era. But that's not a thing for guys.
Oh, my goodness.
That's called a dry spell, and it's something that needs to be fixed ASAP unless they're like heartbroken or something. But they're never truly single. So what does this mean for you?
Well, let's hear it. Pretty much everything that one has said about men being single has been wrong so far, so I can't wait to hear the next part.
This means that if you meet a mysterious, attractive man because he's good looking and he pulled your attention, he's probably got some other sort of strings attached to other people out there.
Or he's actually single and plans on staying that way. Because contrary to what some would have you believe, there are men out there, quite a few actually, that are single by choice, and they would happily like to stay that way.
Here are 3 things you can tell about a man who asks what you bring to the table.
I've been seeing these types of videos a lot, and it seems that some women are not liking it when the tables have turned, and men start asking the same questions that women have been asking them for years. So let's listen to what they have to say.
Number 1, he views relationships as transactional. Number 2, he has unmet needs. Number 3, he dehumanizes a partner.
Okay, so if we're really to think about what they just said, that means that any woman who also asks the same question of a man, of what they bring to the table, would also, in the spirit of equality, be guilty of being those same things, right? Or is it somehow different when a man asks it of a woman? I wonder.
Without knowing it, you might feel like you're at an interview.
Wait, that is exactly what a first date is, and dating in general, actually. It is an interview process in order to be able to determine whether two people are actually compatible to be in a long-term committed relationship with each other. And these difficult questions, such as what does the other person bring to the table in terms of the relationship, do need to be asked. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of each other's time.
Would you guys cheat for $100?
Ah, yes. Who can guess the answer to that question?
Would I cheat from? Alright, probably, yeah.
Seriously.
You're for real? I'm being for real. Why? I mean, it's $100 is $100.
$100. I guess some individuals really can put a price on loyalty.
Cheat to cheat? Dude, you're not marrying the guy. How do you know? You're not marrying him. Obviously, if you want to cheat, that means you're not marrying him.
If a person wants to cheat, perhaps they shouldn't be with that person in the first place. Better to leave than be a cheater.
No. I think loyalty over everything.
I happen to agree with their friend.
Okay, thanks.
You want to cheat then?
Should I? Right now?
Yeah.
First guy, pick him out. Oh, you can't do that. Do you want to? I'm being for real.
But if this isn't actually staged, then our future generations are possibly in a lot of trouble if there's individuals that think like this and think it's okay.
I feel like men these days, like, you have to, like, pretty much ask them what's their favorite lip gloss because they just want princess treatment.
What gives you that idea?
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this.
They just want you to, like, chase after them. They want you to, like, be the one to initiate conversation.
So a man wanting a woman to pursue him is now considered to be the princess treatment.
There's, like, no, like, real men anymore.
But it seems that women are getting exactly what they wanted when they talked about how bad all men are, mentioned toxic masculinity, the patriarchy, and a lot of other buzzwords that I could mention. And now they're getting exactly what they asked for, and they don't like it.
Should a man not be chased and admired?
Such a good question.
No, they should be changing.
What gave you that mentality?
I think maybe my upbringing.
What about it though?
A man should be a man, I don't know. Yeah.
Is there a difference between pursuing and chasing though?
It's like the same thing. Yeah, they're like the same thing.
So how do you show a man that you value him if he's always chasing you?
Wait for it.
If I actually want him, then I will make the time for him and give him attention. But if he's not giving me that initial attention, then I'm good.
It actually sounds like some women just don't want to pursue men because then they wouldn't be getting that princess treatment and being treated like they're the prize. And then, of course, they might actually have to deal with the possibility of rejection. But men could tell them something about having to deal with that since men have been the ones who traditionally pursued women for years.
Who's more toxic, a guy in prison or a guy in the army?
Let's see if this answer contains any common sense.
Oh, a guy in the army.
Guy in the army.
100%.
For sure.
Nope. Guess not.
Because in prison, at least they find, like, religion.
Find relationships and they get married in prison.
What?
So it depends on the branch, though. What branch is it?
Who wants to tell them?
Yeah, he's definitely very toxic. I'd rather have a prison man.
What? Why?
I would rather a man in prison, too. Yeah. Or recently out. Is there, I think maybe Navy. I think a Navy man.
Or Air Force. Nope, dated one of those. They cheated on me.
Yeah, they seem like they have too much access to air.
Too much access to air. Well, that's new. Meanwhile, I'm starting to wonder if everyone involved in that conversation genuinely had enough access to air.
All I want for Christmas
is what? I'm sure it can't be anything too unreasonable, right?
is for men to learn to shut up. Just shut up. Thank you.
Okay, let's just assume for a moment that they get their Christmas wish. But then what would a lot of women like this have to talk about? I mean, really what? Because there are certainly a lot of women, not all of them, but certainly the loudest of many of them, have nothing to talk about except men. They can't decenter men from their lives even if they tried, because their entire personalities seem to be about men. Even though it's about disparaging men, criticizing them, talking about how to control them, how to manipulate them, everything in the world with most of their personalities has everything to do with men.
One thing about modern women, they're always going to say something stupid, stand behind it until the consequences of them standing on their decision gets too hard for them to bear. Until they get back on this internet asking, where are all the good men? I want a faithful, loyal man that's willing to provide for me in any capacity, and then proceeds to go down a list of 100 to 2,000 things that a man needs to provide, each at maximum difficulty. And they wonder why a man takes one look at the list and throws it in the trash. Because it's a bunch of hot garbage. It's foolishness. Men don't want to be bothered by modern women anymore because their standards, their communication, their emotional intelligence, all of it is trash.